Jayo Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Jayo Gopi Jana Vallabha Girvardhari. Yashodanandana Braja Jana Ranjana. Yamuna Tiravanachari. Jayo Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Jayo Gopi Jana Vallabha Girvardhari. Yashodanandana Braja Jana Ranjana. Yamuna Tiravanachari. Jayo Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Jayo Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Jayo Krishna Balaram, Krishna Balaram, Krishna Balaram, Jayo Krishna Balaram, Krishna Balaram, Krishna Balaram, Krishna Balaram, Jayo Radha Sham Sundar, Radha Sham Sundar, Jayo Radhe, Jayo Gaura Nitai, Gaura Nitai, Gauranitai, Shri Shri Gauranitai. Jayo Jayo Prabhupada, 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 Jayo Jayo Prabhupada. Jayo Jayo Gurudev, 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 Jayo Jayo Gurudev. We welcome all the devotees for this evening Gita class and seek blessings of all the senior devotees so that we can speak something for the pleasure of the Lord and for my purification. Today we'll be taking Shlok 2.20 from chapter 2, and that present context is we are discussing about the soul. Before that we can do Mangalachan. Om Agyantimirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namah Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadāmayam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yutaha Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavansha Shri Rupam Sagra Jatam Sahagan Raghunathan Vitam Tam Sajivam Savadhetam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagan Lalita Shri Vishakha Nidhivansha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Deenabandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namastute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanusute Devi Pranamami Haripriye Vancha Kalpatarubhyaksha Kripa Sindhubhya Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namah. Yatra Gita Vicharascha Patnam Patnam Tatha. You can repeat with Yatra Gita Vicharascha Patnam Patnam Tatha Modate Tatra Shri Krishna Bhagavan Radhaya Saha. Wherever this Gita is discussed, read or spoken, there Shri Krishna along with Srimati Radharani very happily present there. So we request Shri Krishna, Shri Radharani and all the Guru Parampara to bless us and be present here to guide me and so that we can discuss something about the soul. (2.20) Na jāyate mriyate va kadācin nāyaṁ bhūtvā bhavitā va na bhūyaḥ ajo nityaḥ śāśvatam yam purāṇo na hanyate hanyamāne śarīre na jāyate mriyate va kadācin nāyaṁ bhūtvā bhavitā va na bhūyaḥ ajo nityaḥ śāśvato yam purāṇo na hanyate hanyamāne śarīre na jāyate mriyate va kadācin nāyaṁ bhūtvā bhavitā va na bhūyaḥ ajo nityaḥ śāśvato yam purāṇo na hanyate hanyamāne śarīre nāyaṁ bhūtvā bhavitā va na bhūyaḥ ajo nityaḥ śāśvato yam purāṇo nāyate hanyamāne śarīre, na jāyate mriyate va kadācin, bhūtvā bhavitā nāyaṁ. Hanyate hanyamāne śarīre, na jāyate mriyate va kadācin, ayam bhūtvā bhavitā va na bhūyaḥ, ajo nityaḥ śāśvato ayam purāṇo, nāyaṁ hanyamāne śarīre. Mataji. nāyaṁ bhūtvā bhavitā va na bhūyaḥ, ajo nityaḥ śāśvato ayam purāṇo, nāyaṁ hanyamāne śarīre. jāyate mriyate va kadācin, nāyaṁ bhūtvā bhavitā va na bhūyaḥ, ajaḥ nityaḥ śāśvataḥ purāṇo, na hanyate hanyamāne śarīre. Shabda. Na, never. Jāyate, takes birth. Mriyate, dies. Va, either. Kadācit, at any time. Past, present or future. Na, never. Ayam, this. Bhūtvā, having come into being. Bhavitā, will come to be. Va, or. Na, not. Bhūyaḥ, or is again coming to be. Ajaḥ, unborn. Nityaḥ, eternal. śāśvataḥ, permanent. Ayam, this. purāṇaḥ, the oldest. Na, never. Hanyate, is killed. hanyamāne, being killed. śarīre, the body. Translation and purport by His Holiness, by Divine Grace Srila Prabhupada. For the soul, there is neither birth nor death at any time. He has not come into being, does not come into being, and will not come into being. He is unborn, eternal, ever existing, and primeval. He is not slain, and when the body is slain. Please repeat after me. For the soul, there is neither birth nor death at any time. He has not come into being, does not come into being, and will not come into being. He is unborn, eternal, ever existing, and primeval. He is not slain when the body is slain. Purport. Qualitatively, the small atomic fragmental part of the Supreme Spirit is one with the Supreme. He undergoes no changes like the body. Sometimes the soul is called the steady or kutastha. The body is subject to 6 kinds of transformations. It takes its birth from the womb of the mother's body, remains for some time, grows, produces some effects, gradually dwindles, and at last vanishes into oblivion. The soul, however, does not go through such changes. The soul is not born, but because he takes on his material body, the body takes its birth. The soul does not take birth there, and the soul does not die. Anything which has birth also has death. And because the soul has no birth, he therefore has no past, present or future. This point I want to explain here in the reading of the purport itself. Prabhupada is saying the soul therefore has no past, present or future. What does it mean? Srila Sridhar Swami Pad in his commentary mentions that it is not that like soul is born or produced at any time. Soul is never born or produced neither in the past nor in the present, never in the future. It is eternal. It has never come into being. Soul has never come into being. Like Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, soul is always there. Eternally it is there. In the Shloka 15.7, we read that Mame Vansha Jiva Loke, Jiva Bhūta Sanatana. It looks like that ki Jiva is a fragmental part of Krishna. Sometimes it has come from the Krishna. No, it is not like that. Soul is always eternal. It has no birth. It has never taken birth. It has never come into existence. That's in that sense, Prabhupada is saying that there is no past, present, or future for the soul. In that sense, there is no birth, no existence in the past, in the present, or future. There is no coming into existence. Soul is always in existence. Soul is sanatana. It is always in existence. It is not that at some point of time it has come into existence. No. It has never taken birth by the natural form or any material form. It has never come into existence. It is already in existence. That is the meaning of this thing. It has no past, present, or future. He is eternal, ever existing, and primeval. That is, there is no trace in the history of his coming into being. There is no, like, eternally it is there. History, if you go into history, there is no proof that at any particular point of time, soul has come into existence. It is already there. It's always there. It was there, it is there, it will be there. And there will be no change. Which we will read in further. Under the impression of the body, we seek the history of birth, etc. of the soul. The soul does not at any time become old as the body does. The so-called old man therefore feels himself to be in the same spirit as in his childhood or youth. The changes of the body do not affect the soul. The soul does not deteriorate like a tree, nor anything like material. The soul has no byproduct either. The byproducts of the body, namely children, are also different individual souls. And owing to the body, they appear as children of a particular man. The body develops because of the soul's presence, but the soul has neither offshoot nor change. Here again, this point, the body develops because of the soul's presence. It is not. If you want to go through this matter into detail, Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 3, Chapter 31, Shloka 1 to 20 or something like that. Lord Kapil Dev is explaining in detail to Mother Devati how the soul is injected into a womb of a mother by the father and how it develops. It is not by the combination of that semen and that body is created. No. Because in the semen, soul is there. Because of the presence of soul, the body takes place. Body comes into existence and grows. By no material activity, without the presence of soul, body cannot take place and cannot develop. That's what Prabhupada is saying. Body develops because of the soul's presence, but the soul has neither offshoot nor change. So please go through that. It's very scientifically explained. Canto 3, Chapter 31. Shlok 1 to whatever further, very detailed description how a human child takes birth, how it comes into existence. And even material science will not be able to explain in detail. Such a detailed explanation is there. The body develops because of the soul's presence, but the soul has neither offshoots nor change. Therefore, the soul is free from the 6 changes of the body. In the Katha Upanishad, we also find a similar passage which reads, Na jāyate mriyate va vipashin, nāyaṁ kadācin na bhūtvā kaścit, ajo nityaḥ śāśvato yam purāṇo na hanyate hanyamāne śarīre. The meaning and purport of this verse is the same as in the Bhagavad Gita, but here in this verse there is one special word, vipaschit, which means learned or with knowledge. The soul is full of knowledge. We know that what is the three basic qualities of soul? Satchit Anand. Like Krishna, the soul is also Satchit Anand. The soul is full of knowledge, or always full with consciousness. Therefore, consciousness is the symptom of the soul. Sometimes people say, what is the proof of soul? So consciousness is the proof of the soul, the presence of soul in the body. Consciousness, this chetna, is pervading in the entire body. If there is no consciousness, body will not move. Whenever the body dies, when the soul goes away, that dead matter is there, there is no consciousness, there is no movement, there is no consciousness. The presence, the consciousness is the proof of presence of soul in the body. Even if it does not find the soul within the heart, where he is situated, one can still understand the presence of the soul simply by the presence of consciousness. Sometimes we do not find the sun in the sky owing to clouds or some other reason, but the light of the sun is always there, and we are convinced that therefore it is daytime. As soon as there is a little light in the sky early in the morning, we can understand that the sun is in the sky. Similarly, since there is some consciousness in all bodies, whether man, animal or trees, we can understand the presence of the soul. This consciousness of the soul is, however, different from the consciousness of the Supreme, because the Supreme Consciousness is all knowledge, past, present and future. Soul is also Satchit Anand, it is knowledgeable, but Supreme Soul's consciousness and knowledge is different. Qualitatively wise, the soul is same, but quantitatively there is a lot of difference. If we remember first shloka of the Srimad Bhagavatam, 1:1:1, Abhigya, there is word used, Abhigya. So Krishna, Super Soul, knows everything, whatever is happened in the past, present or future, with everybody. The soul knows about its own. But Super Soul knows everything. The consciousness of the individual soul is prone to be forgetful. When he is forgetful of his real nature, he obtains education and enlightenment from the superior lessons of Krishna. But Krishna is not like the forgetful soul. If so, Krishna's teachings of Bhagavad Gita would be useless. We can remember that in this chapter only we read in 2.12. There is no time ki you are not there, I am not there. Krishna is saying to Arjuna, but you have forgotten, I remember everything. Same thing is mentioned here, ki soul forget his knowledge, but Krishna always remembers. But Krishna is not like the forgetful soul. If so, Krishna's teaching of Bhagavad Gita would be useless. There are two kinds of souls, namely minute particle soul called Anu Atma and the super soul called Vibhu Atma. This is also confirmed in the Katha Upanishad. Both the super soul and the atomic soul are situated on the same tree of the body, within the same heart of the living being. The only one who has become free from all material desires as well as limitation can, by the grace of the Supreme, understands the glories of the soul. Krishna is the fountainhead of the super soul also, as it will be disclosed in the following chapters. Krishna says, I am the Arjuna, therefore the requires to be enlightened by Krishna or by his bona fide representative, the spiritual master. Jagat Guru Srila Prabhupada ki jai. So in this Gita, chapter 2, Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur in his commentaries mentions that this is the most important chapter of Gita because it summarizes the entire Gita in advance. Krishna speaks about Karma Yoga, Jnana Yoga, Dhyan Yoga and even Bhakti Yoga. A glimpse of everything is there in this chapter. And this chapter is divided into 4 parts and can be remembered by acronym Gita. G stands for Guru Shelter, I stands for Identity, T for two Dharma, 2 duties or 2 dharmas of a living entity, and A for Atmaram. Guru Shelter. Up in the chapter Shloka 2.7, when Arjuna is bewildered, Kalpanya Dosho Apasvabhava, he takes shelter of Krishna. He becomes a Shishya. till then he was playing like a friend, behaving like a friend. But in first 10, 11 shlokas, he took shelter of the Krishna, Guru shelter. Then from shloka 11 to 30, Krishna is speaking about soul. That is identity. Who are we? And in the third part, from 31 to 53, two duties of the soul is discussed. That is varnashram dharma and swadharma. That is sanatan dharma. And the last part, where Arjuna asks, who is Sit Pragya? So Krishna explains the process of self-realization through 2.54 to 2.72, Atma Ram, this science of self-realization. So Gita, there are 4 divisions of this chapter, second chapter, and we are into the second identity. We are discussing who are we. We are soul. We are not this body. This is basic thing, and it is emphasized by Srila Prabhupada. I was listening lecture of my Guru Maharaj, His Holiness Gopal Krishna Maharaj Ji. He was mentioning at least more than 85% of Srila Prabhupada's lectures and purports, he mentioned soul. We are not body, we are the soul. He is emphasizing this point. We are not this body, we are the soul. Although this is very basic, but it is very important to keep us reminding that we are not this body, we are the soul. Unless we come to this point, that we are the soul, it is very difficult to advance in the Krishna consciousness. So this is the starting point. This understanding about the soul is not very interesting or like boring. People are stand away and go away from the class, and it's not very interesting. But if we know what we'll get from this, like when we give some medicine to a child, so we give some candy, sweet candy, so that he can easily take it. Krishna in chapter 13, the knowledge about soul is given in chapter 2 and chapter 13 in detail. In chapter 13, Krishna mentions that he is giving us sweet candy. If we understand about soul, what we will get? 13.19. Krishna says that first he is saying only the devotees can understand thoroughly about the soul. And once they know that, they will attain me. And in shloka 24 of chapter 13 only, Krishna says that one who understands the philosophy concerning material nature and the soul, and the interaction between the soul and the modes of nature, he will not take birth here again, regardless of his present position. He will not take birth here again, regardless of the present position. So Krishna is giving us very sweet candy. So we should, in spite of being boring, we should know what is soul, what is his activities, how soul is different from body. We have maybe learned so many times we have learned, but still we should learn it. And if we know, divine grace Bhakti, Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur used to say, we should put 1,000 sleepers in the morning and the mind. What does it mean? We have to remind daily that we are not this body, we are the soul. It does not mean that we are literally stick to that staple to our mind. We have to remind daily that we are not this body, we are the soul. And we don't have to engage in the sense gratification activities. We have to do activities which are for the upliftment of the soul. That by means hitting 1,000 sleepers in the morning and night. So this knowledge of soul is most basic and most important. Without knowing this, we cannot advance in Krishna consciousness. However advanced we be, sometimes the Maya is very strong. Unless we keep us reminding daily, we are not this soul, we are not this body, we are the soul, we are eternal part of the super soul, then it will be very difficult to escape from the clutches of Maya. Maya can catch us any time. Srila Prabhupada, whenever he is praying before the devotee, once his disciple asked, what you are praying to before the devotees, before the deities. So he was mentioning, I am praying to the deities that please save me from the Maya. So, though Prabhupada is a liberated soul, but still he was showing that we have to be very careful from the Maya. We have to always remember that we are not this body. We don't have to be always engaged in the activities related to gratifying our senses. We have to do activities which enlighten our soul. So now coming to the shloka. There are 3-4 things in the sloka. The main first Prabhupada in part, Prabhupada is explaining that qualitatively soul is same as the super soul, Satchit Anand. But quantitatively it's very, very minute. Anu Atma and Vibhu Atma. Because it's very, very minute in size. It's 1/10,000 part of the tip of the hair. It is mentioned in Mundaka Upanishad. The size of the soul is 1/10,000. So by no medical science we can see the soul. But qualitatively it's the same, but because the size is quantitatively it is so small, whenever the soul comes into the contact of the 3 gunas, material nature, it becomes conditioned. And super soul or Krishna is always liberated. It is not like that Krishna also becomes conditioned by the Krishna is gunatita. He is above the 3 modes of nature. This Prabhupada is explaining it in very detail, emphasizing it. Qualitatively, soul is same as Krishna, super soul, but quantitatively, because it's very minute, we are prone to affected by 3 gunas. In somewhere somebody asked Prabhupada when the soul is affected, comes into clutch of Maya, when it becomes bounded. So Prabhupada says it is not required to know that when we come as bounded, when we come into the 3 gunas. It is more important how to get out of these 3 gunas. How to get out of these gunas. So we should not go into details how we are spiritual souls, how we are coming to the existence contact with the 3 gunas. It is more important we have to get out of this 3 gunas. The other point Prabhupada is mentioning the presence of soul, the proof of the soul is presence of the consciousness. He has given the example of sunlight. Even though sometimes sun is covered by the cloud, but because some light is there, we can know that sun is there. Similarly, some consciousness is there in everybody, whether it is animals or trees or human body, some consciousness is there, and that consciousness we can show that we came to know that soul is present in the body. Once we are dead, the soul is not there, but the body is dead. There is no movement. As soon as a person dies, people says, "वो गया, मेरा पिता गया, मेरा पति गया, कहाँ गया? Body तो यहीं है. What has gone? The soul has gone. The body is there. Still we say, people are crying, where you are gone, where you are gone, my father has gone, my mother has gone. So this is not that the soul has gone. The consciousness which is there in the body has gone, and the soul has gone. That is the proof of the presence of soul. And Prabhupada is mentioning that the soul and the super soul always resides in the heart of the living entity. Both are residing in the heart of the living entity. In the Katha Upanishad it is also mentioned, there are 2 birds sitting on the same tree. One is enjoying the fruits of the tree and the other is observing. So if the enjoying bird looks towards the super soul, he will get knowledge and guidance, and then he will not engage in the enjoyment of the fruits. So as long as soul is there in the body, Paramatma, super soul, will always accompany the soul. Even if the soul is in the body of a worm, super soul is also there with the soul. In this material world, super soul is always there with the soul. Krishna is so Bhakta Vatsal, so he always remains with the soul. Whether in the body of a gigantic elephant or the ajgar and all that, or be a smallest worm, super soul is always there with the soul. And in 13th chapter, it is clearly mentioned in detail that the super soul is, there are two souls, there are two kshetragya. One kshetragya is a soul, kshetragya means who knows the body. One kshetragya is the body, that one kshetragya is the soul, and the other kshetragya is the super soul. The soul knows about his own body, but the super soul knows about the bodies, everything, about every other thing. And in this purport also Sri Prabhupada mentions that only one who has become free from all material desires as well as limitations can, by the grace of Supreme, understands the glories of the soul. If we try to speculate about soul and know about soul by our own mind, without following the instructions of the Krishna through the spiritual master, we cannot understand the soul. Soul is so inconceivable potencies, soul and super soul. This topic is not like any scientist may argue, may study so many things, they do so many experiments, but they cannot understand how soul functions. What is the qualities of the soul? Only by devotion, only a devotee can understand about the soul. And then Prabhupada talks about the difference between body and the soul. What is the difference between this material body and soul? There are 6 changes in the body, which are not there in the soul. Like body comes into existence, remains sometimes, then grows, then produces by some byproducts, then deteriorates, and then ultimately dies. But there is no such change in the soul. Though the Master mentioned that soul is śāśvato young purāṇo, the oldest, but it is always naveen, young, youth. Soul does not grow. Like body, soul does not grow. It always remains eternal, nityaḥ. Nityaḥ means whatever position was there it is beginningless. Soul is beginning. In the starting, whatever position is there, it will remain the same thing. It don't grow. The size of the soul does not grow. Neither by age, neither in terms of age, nor in terms of health or weight or something like that. Size of the soul remains same, and the age of the soul remains same. Like soul is always remains youthful. It does not become old. Neither soul does not produce any byproducts, neither it decays or neither it dies. So, in this, from just like I mentioned, from 12, shloka number 12 to 30, this section of the second chapter deals about Atma, soul. So, what are the qualities of the soul? I can briefly I noted down the qualities, I can mention some of them. The words used in the Dehantara, the words used for these 11, 12 slokas for the about soul. It is transformed from one body to another. Avinashi means it is imperishable. Anasino means it is never destroyed. Aparameshayasha, it is immeasurable. We cannot measure the soul. Na jāyate, it never takes birth. Na mriyate, it never dies. Na bhūtvā, it never comes into being. It ajaḥ, it's unborn. It's nityaḥ, eternal. It's śāśvato, it means permanent. It's purāṇo, it means it's oldest. Avyayam, it's immutable. Na chindanti shastani. It cannot be cut into pieces by any weapon. Achedaya. It cannot be broken. Adhaya. It cannot be burned by fire. Akledyo. It is insoluble in the water. Asosya. It cannot be dried. Sarvagata. It's all pervading. Sthanor. It's unchangeable. Achalo. It's unmovable. Sanatana. It is eternal. Avyakto. It is invisible. Achintayo. It is unconceivable. It is ascharyavat. It's very amazing. There is a shlok 29 which says how amazing is the soul. Nobody can understand this. Avadhyo. It cannot be killed. Sarvam idam tatam. It pervades the entire body. So there are 28 descriptions, words used by the Krishna to describe the soul. Soul is situated in the heart. It is mentioned in the Mudrika Upanishad. It is mentioned in Shloka 2.12. There are 6 changes in the body which are not there in the soul. Proof of soul is the consciousness. And the most important point which Krishna mentions in the 2.12 about individuality of the soul. Soul was always there, is there and will be there. Soul will never lose its identity. Soul will never merge into the Brahman Jyoti. That is the most important thing. In chapter 2.12, Krishna negates the philosophy of Mayavad. Ki soul after it's liberated, leaves the body, merges into the Brahma Jyoti and loses its identity. No. Soul never loses its identity. This is the most important point. One of the most important points is soul will always remain its identity. 2.12, we can just read what Krishna is saying. Never was there a time when I did not exist, nor you, nor all these kings, nor in the future shall any of us cease to be. So means all individual souls were there, is there and will be there. Even after death, even after liberation. Even after liberation, soul does not lose its identity, which Mayavadi says, it merges into the Supreme. No. Even if for temporary, if it remains, it can remain in the Brahmajyoti, but it will remain its identity. Soul never loses its individuality. Neither soul nor the super soul. Both remains its identities, individuality. And in Shloka 15.7, what Krishna is saying, Mame vansha jiva loke jiva bhūta sanatana. What is the relationship with the soul? Soul is the fragmented part of the super soul. And it is sanatana, eternal. Along with this technical things, the main purpose of knowing this is, we don't have to spend our time in just feeding the body, which ultimately has to die someday. Srila Prabhupada used to give some quotation from Bible where it is mentioned that body will be converted into a dust, whatever religion you be. In Hindus you are burnt, where it becomes into ashes. In mountains it is buried and worms will eat it and will become into ashes. So everything will, whatever religion you are, body will become dust. So there is no need to always keep decorating this body. If you have a parrot or a very beautiful bird and you put it into a golden cage and you are just decorating the cage, the golden cage, daily cleaning and all these things, but not giving the food to that bird, the bird will die. Similarly, throughout our life, 99.9% of our time we are spending in eating, sleeping, mating and defending. That's the activity relating to our body. We are not doing anything for the soul, which we are actually. So purpose, unless we remind ourselves daily that we are not this body, we are the soul. This body will die. Whatever happiness we get by engaging in all senses activities, it is temporary. Like the happiness of Krishna, the manufacturer of this universe, has stamped this word as what? Dukhalya as śāśvatam. It is full of miseries and it is temporary. First of all, there is no permanent happiness, and if there is some happiness, it is very temporary. Like the happiness is described as if we drown some man in the water and keep it there for 5-10 minutes and just keep him out for 1 second, he will feel very happy. And then again drown him and again he will feel happy. So this material happiness is like that. When we have some less misery, we think we are happy. But actually there is no happiness in the material world. The purpose of reading this, understanding this soul, is that everybody, even the devotee, theoretically we are discussing and we knowing we are not the body, we are the soul. But we are not acting on that level. At least I am not acting on this level at all. We always do our activities keeping ourselves as the body, thinking ourselves as the body. Unless we thoroughly understand what is soul and what is the body, we will not be able to understand the importance of the soul. There is no happiness in engaging in the all sensual activities. That is very temporary. Soul is spiritual and all these sensual activities are material. Soul cannot be satisfied with any material activity. Soul can never be satisfied by any amount of material pleasure, sensual pleasure. The proof is that whatever we desire, sometimes it is a study that in a normal person's life, 60 to 70% of our desires are fulfilled. We desire something. If it is fulfilled, for the moment we feel happy, but after another time, maybe a few hours or few days, we get another desire. We are bored by that desire. Even after fulfillment, we get new desire. So, fulfillment of desire will not make the soul happy. We have to understand this thoroughly. It looks like very boring, but this is very important. We have to keep us minding. Whatever happiness we are seeking for in the material world cannot give any satisfaction to the soul. It is useless for the soul. That bond is becoming greater and greater. The more we are engaging in the material activities, more we are bound. It is material, we are bound by the golden chain or the silver chain or the iron chain. We have to get out of the 3 chains. Even if we are the sataguna, that also binds. Means if we are bound by the golden chain, we are still bound. We are not free. So some people are there very moralist. They say, yes, there is no good, we are doing good activities, we are not hurting anybody and all that. Yes, they are to some extent happy, but they are also bound. They don't know they are the soul and they are the part of the super soul. Unless they make the super soul happy, the soul cannot be happy. The 2 things we have to, first we know, we are not, all devotees, generally ISKCON devotees know we are not the body, we are the soul. The second thing is we are the part of the super soul, and unless we remain in touch with the super soul, we get energy from the super soul, we will not be happy. Like, if material example, so many electrical items we see, unless it is connected to a super powerhouse, it's useless. Whatever gadgets we are having, anything we are having, AC, fridge, whatever thing, unless it is connected to the super powerhouse, it's useless. So, unless soul is connected to the super soul, here we have to, knowledge of soul is very, very, very important, but only the knowledge of soul is not sufficient. That Mayavadis, they understand the knowledge of soul. They know we are different from the body. But that is not sufficient. That is essential, prerequisite, essential, but that is not the sufficient. We are not, this body is one part. This is essential. But what we are, who is soul? And soul is the part of super soul. Mame vansha jiva loke jiva bhata sanatana. We are part and parcel of the super soul. That is the most important part of this. We are soul, part of the super soul. Everything has some dharma, religion, or basic tendency. Like, what is the nature or dharma of sugar? Can anybody tell? Sweet. Like, what is the fire? To give light and heat. So, what is the nature or dharma of the soul? Can anybody tell? Yes, right, but technically to serve. The nature or the religion of the soul is to serve. Unless the soul serves, it cannot remain happy. So long as we are serving the Supreme, we are happy. If we are not serving the Supreme, we will be serving the Maya. Soul has to serve somebody. If we become diverted from Super Soul Krishna, we will be serving our family, our nation, our society. We have to be serving. Everybody is servant. The soul is, the nature of the soul is to serve. Without serving, soul cannot survive. So, to remain happy, we have to serve. Soul has to serve. To remain happy, we have to serve the Supreme Soul. You are getting? It is confusing, and I am also not able to explain properly, but it's very, very simple and scientific. We are not this body, we are the soul. This is the basic thing. We have to, any amount of sensual pleasure, sense gratification will not give any happiness to the soul. Soul is totally spiritual, and all this sensual is material. There are two different things, two different words, material and spiritual. They are totally different things, material and spiritual. Any amount of material happiness, pleasure, or gratification will not satisfy soul. So what we have to do? Soul has to serve somebody. We are the part and parcel of the super soul. So we have to serve Krishna. How we have to remind ourselves aloof from Maya, Gunatit, by following the instructions of Krishna under the guidance of a spiritual master. We have to keep always reminding, we have to take shelter of spiritual master and follow the instructions of spiritual master to engage in the ninefold devotional activities. Thus, food of the soul is to serve Krishna. How to serve Krishna? There are 9 processes. The best one is chanting the holy names. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. So, one more thing we have to understand. When we engage in this all material sense gratification, soul is not polluted. Soul remains eternal and Satchit Anand. There is a covering in between the material body. Through that consciousness, soul feels the pain and pleasure through consciousness. Soul never becomes agitated or happy by these material pleasures. Through consciousness, body felt this pleasure or pain, and because soul is residing in the body, that layer is there. Some layers come on the soul of that ignorance or false pleasure. We have to remove that layer. Soul is always pure. Soul is never polluted. Whatever type of sensual activity will do, soul is always pure. But because soul is the residence of the soul is this heart, is this body. So what we have to do, cheto darpan marjanam. When the place of residence of the soul becomes purified, soul will not be affected by these 3 modes of guna. It will become gunatita. Are you getting? I am able to explain? Any type of material activity will not give pleasure to soul, but soul is not polluted by all these activities. Soul always remains aloof. But the place of residence of the soul is heart. which is polluted. That's why soul is not feeling happy. There is a layer of dust, ignorance is coming. So we have to remove that dust by the process of chanting Hare Krishna, Cheto Darpan Mahajanam, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare. So I just repeated the basic three things. We are not this body, we are soul. Who are we? Soul. And what is our source? Super soul. And what is our duty? To serve the super soul. Only three things we know, we'll always be happy. Who we are? Identity. This portion we are discussing identity. We are soul. From where we came? Who is our source? Super soul or Krishna. And what is our duty? To serve him. Unless we do this is a very simple thing. Unless we do this thing, we will not be happy. Soul will always remain in that polluted thing, and once we remain, however good we are, if we go somewhere where some pollution is there, we will not remain happy. So like that, soul will not be happy, feel happy in that polluted space. Her heart is very polluted. Somebody was saying that if we take out heart and try to, so much black, so much dirt will come now, we cannot even imagine. So dirty is our heart. So we have to purify our heart. That we can do only when we know we are not this body and we are soul, and any type of material activity will not please the soul. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram. I am sorry if I am not able to explain properly, but I have tried my best with the blessings of, if any fault is there, please forgive me and bless me so that I can in future explain more properly. And if any comments or the thing is there.
What is
Chet means Hada. Yes. And Cheta is like Darpan. Margin means we have to clean that. Like when on mirror, dust is come, so we will not able to see our face. So soul, we will not able to realize we are soul unless there is dirt in the heart. We will not able to see our face in the mirror if the dust is there on the mirror. So we have to remove that dust. Similarly, we have to clean our heart to understand that we are the soul. Same thing is mentioned 2-3 places. We cannot understand we are the soul unless our heart is polluted. We are not a devotee. So we have to take the shelter. We are very lucky. We have come in under the shelter of Srila Prabhupada. So we have to utilize this golden opportunity and should keep on reminding ourselves, as Srila Bhaktisiddhanta said, daily 1,000 times, we are not this body, we are the soul. We are not this body, we are the soul. Daily we should not be bored. We are listening this, we should listen this. Hare Krishna. Jagat Guru Srila Prabhupada ki jai.
Keshav Sakha Prabhu ki.
Jagat Guru Srila Prabhupada.